Thank you everybody for coming to my talk. Actually, I really don't know how to talk about my paintings. And the reason I paint, I think the major reason I paint is this is my effort to try my best to get rid of those heavy theories or concepts about art and go back to the very primary way to make painting. And I think painting is about making image, producing image, creating images. And I think this is the mother language, mother tongue of everybody, of any human race. And I said, I don't know how to describe my painting, but I really want to talk about my motif, about why I created this group of painting. Actually, this group of painting I call the mandala series. I started this series painting since 2009. And when I started this series painting, I started from a fairly small version. And then I started to paint an image become larger and larger. And now this group of painting, I try to make the image looks more like a monumental scale. My motif about those paintings, it's come from two different image resources. One is the news photos, those image resources I found and I saw from news, TV news and the computer, internet, or different kind of media about the debris and the ruins of World Trade Center in 9/11. Okay. Another image resource about these paintings are from Tibetan art, one very important Tibetan art called Tanka. It's a very important visual art form of Tantric Buddhism. Tanka actually is one kind of mandala image, mandala art. Okay, mandala doesn't mean only Tibetan art in the whole Asian area or in the Buddhist, different kind of Buddhist schools and in Buddhist tradition, we have different kind of mandala arts, mandala paintings. But the most important type of mandala is Tibetan Tantric Buddhist Tanka. Okay, why I choose World Trade Center images and the mandalas, these two totally different images, is because for me, I think World Trade Center, those images from the media, from news, it's not just a very big visual impact for me, for everybody. And I think, from my view, I think the whole event of 9/11 is like a very concise version of contemporary, our today's industry culture, our today's social structure, which is built on very precise calculation, is based on the belief of system. And of course, this system is so fragile. And it's based on the unpredictable disaster or catastrophe. And I think from the 9/11 or those image resources, probably everybody experienced those images from news, from photos, and how from those images how we can feel the disaster or catastrophe, which accompany with the modern industrial civilization. And about the mandala, I think the most important thing about mandala is the mandala, it has which represent a concept of the very fundamental Buddhist idea about our world and of the being in the world, which the world is as a big wheel, a circle. The circle contains from the concept of creation, dwelling, destruction, and emptiness, or in other words, death. But the death is not the end point. And mandala, which represented the concept of circling, actually it's a process. And Tantric Buddhism, Tantric, which means in Tibetan language, which means the process. So mandala in Tantric Buddhism tradition, which means just focus on the process of meditation, of perceiving our world, our life. And this process is about how we, basically from Buddhist view, is about how to demolishing the foundation of our world and rebuild or recreate a world based on a foundation of wisdom. Precisely, it's about the freedom to violence. So I think my painting has the motif of my paintings contain these two different image resources, and about my thinking about today's modern society and industrial civilization and the Buddhist concept about the world as a wheel. So actually, I want you guys to ask me the question, and I just answer the question. Okay. Okay. The video actually is the motion graphic version of my painting, and a lot of the image resources I used on this video is the image resource I used on my painting. But I put a lot of motion graphic image I found from YouTube or different kind of resources, especially like a recent earthquake and the tsunami happened in Japan. I used some video clip to superimpose with other images, and this is just a motion graphic version of the whole series of mandala. Actually, I don't know why. Every new series painting, I always start from like a smaller version, and I gradually I just want to paint it like larger and larger. For me, I think when I paint on a larger canvas, I think the gesture of painting is more important than just the image itself, because every mandala painting is based on very strict process. I always start from the center and make the image just grow from center to the edge, and I paint the painting based on the process of Tibetan monks, the process of making the sand mandala. Just follow the circle from the center, and then painting circle till I finish the painting. And large scale canvas just can really make me feel the painting is grow by itself. And I always encourage myself to paint fast as possible. And if I feel I cannot catch up with the speed of my gesture, then something wrong. I have to start over. So, but I think a large scale canvas just can really let me feel this kind of process. And yeah, that's the reason I just prefer paint larger. I started this group of painting. I start from a vertical image, but in between those vertical pieces, some image I just feel visually it should be horizontal, and this is just very it's like a visual or aesthetical judgment. It's nothing related about the different concepts. Yeah. Yes, I did, and some of those horizontal vertical paintings, I rotate the painting and see it physically to see vertical or horizontal. And sometimes I just took a photo. Actually, in the process of painting, before I finished the painting, I took a photo and rotate on computer to see what's going to happen on the like horizontal or vertical way. Yeah. It's pretty random. I start searching for those image resources. Like all of those paintings are based on the news photo of the debris of and ruins of World Trade Center. Usually, I randomly choose the image from internet or from my collection. Most time, I just keep on collecting those images of disaster, earthquake, World Trade Center, and on all those catastrophe. All the images relate to that. So I randomly choose the image. Sometimes I use computer to manipulate the image, and randomly, and sometimes I just doing some like a collage I try to just select the image as random as possible and doing the process as random as possible. So all the color scheme and the palette is based on the very random chance. Okay. Actually, if you look at the image a little longer, you can recognize some like the detail or debris of architecture and some like metal structure of the building. To be honest with you, I never paint a single abstract painting. I mean, like abstract painting. Till now, I never painted a painting totally abstract. So, but you can see the abstract quality of my paintings, but I would say those paintings are very classical rather than abstract. Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, a lot of people think that mandala, for example, a tanka from Tibetan tanka or any Buddhist relics, they are kind of tools which can enlighten people getting into like a nirvana level. I'm going to explain about the Buddhist view about the world, right? It's Buddhist view about the world has two levels. One level is called the samsara. Another level is nirvana. So samsara, compared to the like Christianity, is more like a secular world, and the nirvana is the enlightened world or a super kind of the highest bliss. And so Buddhist, I think the most important activity for Buddhists meditation. So, but the mandala, the purpose of mandala is not like when you look at an image, like a mandala image, which the mandala can enlighten you. I think it's to making, actually the process is very, very important. To making the mandala, it's because mandala, which means manda, if we separate this word, manda means completion or the top or the best thing. La means a circle. Mandala is like which means a perfect circle. But most, if you look at Tibetan tanka, those traditional mandala art pieces, you will see a lot of image about suffering, like hell, the image of hell, like fire and demons. So the image of mandala, whatever traditional painting or my mandala painting, is not about how to enlighten people's mind. It's about it's my practice or my accompanying with my thinking about the society. And this is the process is more important than or at least I don't want people to think this is going to be a tool to enlighten people. I think the painting, the most important thing still is the process. It's how I paint them. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you start on a separate canvas or paper, and then when do you go to larger size?
I think from small and large, it's like for me, it's like it's the process of growing, just like a human from small baby and grow up. I think so. I start from a smaller version. When I start to have a new idea, maybe I start from a sketchbook, for example, and I start from smaller version, and I start to make the painting larger and take a longer time to make it. It's the process of growing, actually. Mm. This group of painting, I always start one, finish the painting, then start another one. My other group paintings, I will paint like 2 or 3 paintings simultaneously. But this group of painting, I just finish one, then I move to another. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 I do both and include sketches. Even I use computer a lot. I use Photoshop to manipulate the image because it's much faster than traditional way. I remember when I was in the undergraduate school and everything I did by freehand. The image, and I just sometimes even I don't use photocopy. I just sketch it and make it like paint a small version. If I don't like it, I have to start over another one. By using computer, the process becomes much faster. So I don't see the big difference between freehand and by using computer. But actually, even I create an image on computer, when I start to paint the image, sometimes I will change the image, and sometimes I change a lot, and sometimes just I change a certain part of the image. But I use a filter called kaleidoscope to create it. They use the image, like any news image. Through the filter, it's going to create a kind of kaleidoscope image. But all those paintings, you will notice, they are not really like a perfect kaleidoscope image. Actually, the structure of this group of painting, I strictly follow the Tibetan mandala composition. The center piece of the image, you can see it's a square. And then the outside is a hexagon. So usually it will have at least 5 circles, and which is the traditional composition of from Tibetan mandalas. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, actually, okay. Before, when I was in undergraduate school, I was sculpture major. Before I came to United States, it was 1999. I never seriously painted anything. I did some small painting, just like studies or paint still life. It's not like a paint artwork. So after I come to United States, then I start to paint like as a painter. So it was 1999, and I still remember my first painting. I painted a tilted horizon of ocean. So when I start my painting activity, for the first several years, I focus more about the concept. For example, it's not about the concept behind the painting. It's about why I should paint, what painting means today, or what's the painting, the context about painting in contemporary art history, all those kind of thinking. But gradually, more and more, I feel I should get rid of those kind of weight about thinking about what is painting, and I feel painting. Why painting is because painting is painting. As I said, painting is the mother tongue of everybody, any race. It's way before human create language. So I think the painting is the most, the primary activity of human being. So I start to think I should paint, just only focus on how to make the painting rather than to questioning what is painting, or set painting, the concept of painting as a question. So I should get rid of those things and focus on how I paint, or what the painting, this kind of painting quality about my painting. So I think this is a very, very important shift since like 2008. After that, I start to paint looser and looser. Actually, when I started the first one, I paint pretty tight and kind of like a photorealism or like a billboard quality. Then I realized, as like a scale like this painting, I should not paint like that. I should really focus on the painterly quality. Then I just encourage myself to paint faster. And then when I paint really fast, and my thinking cannot catch up of my hand, the painting usually turns much better. So, and then I realized that the painting, I think the factor is creation, at least for painting. So that's the reason I just paint looser and looser. And now I really enjoy making a very painterly painting. Yeah. The process, exactly. Yeah. The first one is this brown one, and the second one is this like light pinkish red and the white one, and the third one is just behind me, and the fourth one is this one, and the fifth is this, and the last one is that green yellow one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Yeah, I just stitch 2 panels together, paint. Yeah, as one painting. Yeah. Oh, that's for my generation, which is very different, and my generation, Chinese artists, I think is the like transitional generation. Before I went to art school, it was art high school. I went there actually. It's 1989, and I went to the college. It's 1993 in China. The art high school is a 4 years program, and college is 4 or 5 years program. I went to the 5 years program. Before my generation in China mainland, it was the dominant style is socialist realism. It's very strict program, and every student should know how to make a very like classical realism painting or sculpture. And the only thing, or only art Chinese artists can do is socialist realism art. So it's just because it's based on this ideology or this idea, art for people. It's not for art people or art appreciate. It's for mass people. Everybody. For Chinese artists, we had to make the art which can be accepted by everybody. So before before 1985, there was no abstract or any kind of contemporary art you can see in China, or maybe some underground, but it was very, very quiet. After 1989 and in China, the art education started to change, but actually officially it's nothing changed. It should not be changed that time. It was very government controlled ideology, in a very, very, very tight, very strict way. But in art school, like I remember when I was in art school, we started talking about the Joseph Beuys or all those Western contemporary art movement or those artists. And actually, in my school, the China National Academy of Art, the library, in the school's library, you can see all kinds of Western art magazines like Art America, Art News, or Art Forum International. So actually, when I was in the school, a lot of students read the magazine. I read those English magazine a lot, and I did translate a lot of articles, art reviews for the schools, my schools, the campus magazine. So most art students, my generation, are already very familiar with the Western art history. But officially, we still have to follow this structure, socialist realism. Then after, I would say after 2003, then China started to have art market. Actually, before that, China didn't have any, professional or commercial galleries. In China, the only art spaces or art organizations are government-run, like museums, the National Museum of Art or the museums in different provinces. But after 2003, I would say, a lot of galleries and art market start to boost up. Now everybody probably familiar with Chinese contemporary. Can be a good thing or bad thing. But compared to American art education, I think in China didn't have a lot of art schools, art departments like here. Compared to here have, I think over like 60 some professional art institute, art academies. and a lot of most universities has a big art program or fairly, well equipped art department. But in China, only have like 6 art institutes nationwide, and only a few universities has fine art program. A lot of universities have design program right now. In China, to get into the art school is a big challenge, I have to say. It's sometimes like my old school, China National Academy of Art, or another school in Beijing, China Central Academy of Art. To get into that school is it will be much harder than getting into like Beijing University Law School or Medical Institute. It's very competitive. So in China, most art school students are very well prepared before they go to school. Compared to here, a lot of students here, as my experience, like an undergraduate school, the first year, a lot of students, they didn't know they want to be a studio artist or designer, so they still just, trying and learning different kind of things. But in China, even undergraduate school, freshmen, the first year, they know they're gonna be a studio artist or be a painter or installation artist or something. I think that's the major difference. Okay. Yeah.